They're definitely interested, and then the chase started. It's like throwing a bomb, like throwing a can of pepper spray into a crowd of people that just scattered. Not that I would recommend doing that, everybody. Goodness me. I'm just gonna let Trish know. Trishala. Okay, well, we're gonna try and find these dogs, and while we do so, let's send you over to the weather across all properties.
Welcome to and beyond Ngala, everyone. This is a very beautiful chilly morning. As you can see, the sun in front of us. And a very good morning and welcome to and beyond Ngala. My name is Marcus Koza, and on camera I've got Mpo. There goes Mpo's thumb. So we are driving this morning. For those who have tuned yesterday on our sunset safari, we are heading towards that waterhole where there was a kudu carcass. So just to see what might have happened during the night, if maybe there were some scavengers that might have made their way to that waterhole, drag it out to feed on it. And of course, the plan for the morning will be to catch up with the members of the Birmingham Pride. But yeah, before we get to that, we would like to pass that waterhole, and hopefully we'll find maybe some scavengers feeding off that kudu carcass. So just have to come with us, just have to wait and see when we get to that waterhole. It is still a bit of a drive, maybe another 20 minutes or so, but it will be nice to see if maybe there might be some animals feeding off it. Of course, yesterday there were some terrapins that attempted to feed off that carcass, but they didn't look like they are winning. So maybe if vultures or even some other scavengers like hyenas came in and were able to open up that. So just follow us, come with us. It's a bit of a chilly morning here at Ngala Safari this morning, about 14 degrees Celsius, which is about 58 degrees Fahrenheit. So while we still make our way to that waterhole, we are going to send you over to Trishala and Juma.
To be back with you. It was a short break without you, but I'm very happy to be back. It's me, Trishala. I've got Davy on camera with me. It's been a while since I've had Davy on camera with me, like good old times. So this morning we are going to, I see some tracks towards the hyena den. And this is important because a lot of the time we come this way and you know the den is a little less active as it used to be. But when I see tracks on the road leading toward the den, that always makes me a little bit hopeful about what we may see. So that's what we're going to do, at least first. I see something, everybody. Now, like I said, the den is not terribly active anymore. There's only a few of the little ones that are still using it. So the adults I can maybe see would be June and Tima, perhaps even Corky. Hello, you. It's Tima. This is awesome. This is the best welcome back present I can imagine. One of several that I'm hoping to have this morning. I think already it's turning out to be a fantastic morning. You would have seen us with Steve when he had the wild dogs. They just came racing past our vehicle, just at full speed. It was incredible. The dust kicking up behind them. That was just amazing. So that's to start off, and then also to be here at the den for a slightly more relaxing scene with Tima and her cub. But for now, I'm going to send you back over to Steve and those wild dogs. I think there's some action happening on that side.
Thanks, Trish. Well, here we are in front of Tambeta Lodge, everybody. And we found the wild dogs again. They are slowly moving directly towards that group of impala we saw before. I don't know what got them spun around. They obviously tried for something and they missed. There's a little pan here in front of Tambeta Lodge where guests can come and sit. There's a little hide downstairs where you can actually be eye level with the animals. The dog's actually looking into the hide at the moment. But a few of them have had a quick drink. A few of them on the move. We're going to keep moving as they go straight towards that sort of herd of impala. Now, when they see that herd of impala, or should I say when the impala see them, you saw how relaxed that herd was before. They're just going to explode. And I am just warning you that I'm almost certain we're going to see a kill this morning with these dogs being so active and so mobile. I don't know if any of you can identify. I counted 13, but there was at least one more dog at Sydney's Dam. Apparently, the dogs had chased an impala into the water, and one was standing by there waiting to catch it. So 13, possibly 14 dogs. I don't know who they are. So one dog's gone that way around Tambeta, one is here, and the rest have gone that side. So let's go have a little look. Okay, here we go. About to come out to exactly where we had that herd of impala a moment ago. Okay, this one has spotted them. It's got its ears flat. Pungwe pack. Thank you, James Richard. Ottawa pack. The Pungwe female with the Ottawa pack. Okay, now, wild dog, obviously, are very good hunters at running everybody and chasing animals into the ground, but they also will try and stalk to get as close as possible to the prey. Look at this. This is what we see leopards do. Their camouflage obviously facilitates that. It's not always just chase. Get as close as they can. And impalas are just in the thickets behind. We're now seeing a live stalk, everybody. And just want to pre-warn you. You still got it there, Gert. Was it a bit off, eh? You still got him. Let me just move up a touch. I just want to pre-warn you that if they do kill something, there is going to be a moment of violence. But this is what happens out here. This is what nature... We've got the impala there.
Morning, guys.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Impala behind the wild dog. Wait for this moment. Here we go. It's happening. It's on. And again, the dogs are on the move, and where on earth? Oh, goodness me, those two impala have just come straight through. Straight through. You see the rocking horse gait that they practice, the jumping. That's to indicate freshness. Not freshness, but strength. Here we go. Oh, doggy. Where do we go, Gert? Where do we go? The dogs have split into three. I think we're going to follow this big male that just went past us now. Straight back to the pan. Impala's last resort will go into a watering hole for survival. Okay, we've got that one moving incredibly fast down the road, thankfully. Now he's got into the block. Woo, my heart is about to explode. Spare a thought for the impalas, but this is an age-old battle. Predator and prey. Wild dog has gone straight through there. This is exactly where we were when we left you last. This male impala is not any of it. So I'm just driving with the car off because I want to hear. I want to be able to hear. Okay, half of the pack went that way. A couple of them went back this way. Are we going to be lucky? Are the wilds going to be lucky? Is their hunting prowess going to pay off? It will pay off eventually. So nice to see the stalking. And as soon as they're within range, they then just open up the throttle. And the objective is to run an animal down. Impala are incredibly fast, taking flight very quickly. And that rocking horse gait, that spring that you see in their step, is to advertise how strong they are. No weakness. You try and do that with four legs. If one of them is not strong, you won't be able to, and predators will pick off the weak. Just have a look at the dam here. They might have chased one down. Looking in the open area. Nothing so far. Water seems quite serene and peaceful. Some water buck by the water. There we go. There we go. Daddy, seeing wild dogs makes you feel like you're here. And that one's going straight up. There we go. They've got one. Other side of the dam. Other side of the dam. Should I go, Gert? You got them? We're going to go. They got something other side of the water. How we didn't see that a moment ago. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Wild dogs have made a kill. Incredible how far away the animal can get. But the dogs have the stamina and the strength to keep up. But I might just stop over here and get a view from this side. We're not going to get right in there. It's going to be finished by the time we get there. They've made a kill on the other side of the water here. Let's just listen. Sensitive viewers, I do apologize. This is the wild. This is what happens. This plays out every day. They're being very quiet. Wasn't a very big meal for them to have finished it already. This is only half. The other half probably went off the other side and maybe caught something. I would not be surprised if this group regroups and then we find them hunting once again. Just going to have to do a quick update on the radio. The station's wild dogs. Oh, my radio is not working. It's okay. They will hunt again. That was not enough. Not all of them fed. Nothing's wasted, everybody. Whatever's left behind, bone and skin that is left behind, the hyenas will clean up. And the wild dogs move. They don't spend a very long time in one place. Black widow, exactly. Such a lovely welcome back. Such a lovely welcome back to Juma. And with Gert at my side again, wild dogs again. So blessed. Goodness me. This is one of the females. She's coming this side. She is completely... Oh, here come the rest of the pack behind us. They've heard the noises. The female that just walked past us was covered in blood. They are still going to hunt. There's two water buck at the watering hole there. I think I'm going to try to turn around. Looks like the action on that side of the water has ended, and these dogs are now going to probably go for one of those female water buck. I don't know if they will. A waterbuck is a big animal. Females are definitely game for wild dog if they're all there in their strength. But here we've only got 3 in front of us. There's probably 4 there, but we did count 13 before. But hopefully we can get a picture, an image of this scraggly female on the left with the floppy ear. Her face... Her mammary glands are very pronounced, which means she's a breeding female. Oh, she's the one with the snaggle tooth. Remember her? She's got a full belly on her. Yes, there's now 4 dogs here. She is from the Pungwe pack and she dispersed. She looks a little worse for wear. A bit of a fat belly. Okay, so here we go again. Poor waterbuck. Are you going to see your end today, or the dog's going to go straight up to quarantine? We're going to follow. Please do stay with us. Ah, the sweet smell of wild dog in the morning. Oh, there they go. There they go. They're going after something. Damn, Cam, you should be able to see all of this. Oh, no. They're going to go other side of the dam again. What did they see? I don't know, but they ran straight past the waterbuck. The dogs are coming on both sides of the water. Have they made another kill? Right in front of the lodge. Something's jumped into the water again. What jumped? Oh, there is a baby. Baby waterbuck in the water. This is, I think it's a waterbuck. It might be an impala. The light is not great, but we've got dogs on either side of the water right now, everybody. The fate of this impala does not look good. How's that light, Gert? Can I move for you? You're good. The light is reflecting directly off the water. The dogs are in here again in numbers. I got 4 on either side. Six on this side, 4 on that side. Rob, the teamwork is incredible. And they do it as a unit. And it's often something that antelope will do when they are threatened, jump into water as a last resort. It doesn't always work well for them. They're not the best swimmers. They can swim, but crocodiles often can get them, as well as hippos. Not that the hippos are trying to get them for food. Now that impala is swimming for the bank. It's losing energy. It's able to stand and push itself back. So this can often happen. The dogs could eventually leave if they lose interest. How long can the impala swim for? Just let me know if you need me to move, Kat. I can't see with that reflection. So okay, we're going to move up and around a bit, try to get another angle. The light, unfortunately, reflecting off the water is making life very tricky. What do you do when you have got predators waiting on either bank? You probably succumb and drown. Shame. Hold and spare a thought for the impala. I've never seen dogs physically go into the water to get the prey. I've seen them splash in a little bit. They are splashing around, but I've never seen them physically go in and swim. Like a Labrador going for the tennis ball in the pool. I've never seen them do that. One of those last-ditch saving methods that an animal employs to try and save its life. Please, everybody, if you have a moment, send through a one-word tweet about how does this all make you feel. Okay, shall I move again for that light? Okay. Okay, this might work out a little bit better for us at this angle. Kevin, anxious, yes, I can imagine. There's definitely a little bit of anxiety in the air, nerves in the belly. Stations are... This radio is not working, so I'm just going to put it down. Here we go. I tried this radio. Energized, James Richard, fully energized, full power. I feel fully energized after my men's retreats. I'm feeling over the world overwhelmingly filled up with energy. And this is, I suppose, we talk about in life how certain things manifest themselves, and, well, the excitement has just flowed over into this morning. There's a hyena on the dam wall.
Thanks. Also, they all gone with you that way.
Yeah, positive.
Tweet. It's one word. Tweet is tense. So tense. Indeed, so tense. I'm just going to speak on the radio, everybody. Stations update. I'm with the Ottawa Pack here at Voitela Dam. They are surrounded in Impala that's in the water. But currently we just got dogs on both banks. One station on lock.
Yeah, morning, Steve. Can I please respond to that?
Most welcome.
Yeah, Chicana making the way onto Voitela. Yeah, Steve, I'd also like my way there. I'd like to make my way there. Warren from Aubrey.
Most welcome, Warren. There's space for two. Okay, so everybody, this Impala's fate does not look good. It's all about the patience. Who's got patience? Do the dogs want to wait it out? Quite often they can leave. And I think they've been through this situation already this morning, as one of the vehicles found a wild dog at Sydney's Dam with an Impala in the water. So it's possible that they've already done exactly this, and they gave up and left. Exhilarated. How does this make you feel in the morning, Gert? Excited, I'm sure. This is such a way to start the day. Not such a great way for the poor Impala, but to be able to witness these scenes in nature, everybody, is really something unbelievably profound. This battle has been playing out timelessly for a very long time.
I think it was.
I reckon some of them made a kill, because there's only 8 here. We counted 13, and it probably could have been more. There was one at Sydney's Dam. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Just had the female poking a nose at a stump that she was quite afraid of. Now, everybody, there's 3 outcomes here. One is that the dogs leave, the Impala survives and gets to shore. 2, the Impala drowns. And 3, the Impala gives up hope of swimming and makes it to the shore and then gets ripped apart. I know it's very difficult to predict which one will happen, but I suppose this Impala is just very lucky. There's no crocodile in this watering hole at the moment. Victoria, yes, indeed, I do hope it doesn't drown as well. I've seen this happen a couple times before, and it's never worked out well for the Impala. I've never seen the Impala drown, though. I've seen hippos smash the Impalas. We've seen crocodiles We've also seen the animals leave, the dogs leave, and the impala eventually finds its way to shore. But it's hoping it's going to find some flat ground in the middle of the watering hole there to possibly put its feet on, which would be a saving grace. But I don't foresee that happening. It's a pretty level bottom to the watering hole. I'm not sure if you can hear the dogs whining. Typical dog whining sound. If you've ever had a dog that doesn't like to swim and its ball ends up in the swimming pool, it'll stay whining for its ball. That's the sort of sounds we are hearing. Okay, well, we're going to stay right here, see what unfolds, and we're not going anywhere. We're staying right here. Guys, the dogs are on the dam wall itself. One's on the bank here with me, and the impala's swimming in the water. I'm not sure of the outcome of this. Okay, it looks like the impala is almost giving up hope there. It's swimming right for them. Are they going to jump in and grab it? Wants to. It's happening. It's happening. I've never seen this before. It's got it. Goodness, everybody. Hold on. This is going to be incredibly savage. Says this is just brilliant. Well, Sherez, I couldn't agree with you more. You can see the coordination with the dogs there. There's no violence. There's obviously a little bit of dominance. Very excited. That poor impala had given up hope of not drowning. Not drowning, should I say. And, well, it's so amazing to see the dog physically go in and pull it out. Spare a thought for the poor impala, but its body will go to the sustenance of this endangered African carnivore. It looks like more members of the pack joined while that was happening. Luke. You say incredible. It was incredible, and to get that all live is something else. Wild dogs on the move hunting is often something we just get glimpses of. But to capture that all in real time, well, I'm a bit overwhelmed. Pan, is a highlight for your entire week. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. All I can say is what a welcome back to Djuma. Gert and I had probably one of my most profound wild dog sightings in Pridelands the week before last. We got the wild dogs on foot with buffalo. That was just something else. After the sighting, we're going to go park off somewhere and just have a little decompression. Well, the dogs are still active. There's not enough meat there to go around for the whole pack, and there's two individuals that have just bolted off to the other side. It looked like a little yearling impala, meaning impala boy. He was born in November, so he's only 7 months old. Not a huge amount of meat to go around. Gert and I try and catch our breaths. I'm going to send you over to Pridelands so Micah can say good morning.
Well, that does sound super exciting. Well done, Steve and Djuma. It sounds like you guys are having a great start to the morning. So we're also having a wonderful start. It's nice and bright and sunny. It's warm this morning, about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 17 degrees centigrade. So it's wonderful. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Anderson. Behind the camera is Glenn, and this is Eco Training's Pridelands Conservancy, where this morning we decided we would like to try and track Lagatha the lioness, who was spotted on this clearing last night when it was dark. She was looking at some impalas. The impalas spotted her. She decided to move off, and we found her tracks right over here. So this is where we are going to start our walk this morning. So you can see beautiful big track here, just a little bit smaller than the size of my hand, but it's nice and broad, far too large for a leopard. A leopard track would fit inside the palm of my hand. So this lion here is a small lion, a lioness, on her own, no other tracks around, and she's going that way. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 toes, nice big broad pad with 1, 2, 3 lobes right at the end. No sign of any claw marks at all. Those 3 lobes, that is what indicates that this is a big cat and not something like a hyena, which would only have 2 lobes and a fairly not asymmetrical shape, or not very symmetrical. Okay, so she was going that way. She was following a herd of impalas. The impalas did spot her, and so she decided to leave and move down south towards the drainage line, where perhaps she tried to hunt again, or maybe she, I don't know, moved off and left the area. So we're going to see what she got up to last night and see if we can follow her tracks and sort of read the bush newspaper. But you can see she went from here. The next track is all the way over there in front, over there, and the next one up there. So she was definitely moving fairly quickly to get off this clearing. So wish us luck, and we shall see what we can find.
have a busy schedule and a lifestyle which is confined to stress and tensions. For so many of us, the hustle and bustle of a tedious life has meant we have lost our inner peace. Traveling is an ultimate remedy that lets us unwind and helps us experience peace in the lap of nature. Wild Earth encourages the benefits of travel by giving away an amazing prize every month.
I was totally overwhelmed to receive this fantastic prize of 3 nights at Chitwa Chitwa. Wild Earth has been a lifesaver for us during the pandemic and has kept us sane. Thank you so very much, Wild Earth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
And I find getting out to a local royal park brings me so much closer to nature. I can leave my pain at home. And like watching Wild Earth, I find it's the most amazing way to step out of life's difficulties and just breathe.
The chirping and fluttering of these Java finches at the feeder in our garden helps us start each day joyfully in connection with nature.
So this is our piece of nature that we've been enjoying and has been keeping us sane during lockdown. This morning we have 8 oyster catchers on our beach, which is a real treat.
Hug a tree, Steve, just for you.
I love being a cam-up for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Hello everyone, did you have a fun time with the wild dogs? It sounded amazing, absolutely amazing. Especially to see the impala in the water, waterbuck in the water. A great way to watch the defenses of those animals that we talk about, but actually see it in action. So that is awesome. Now, as you can see, we are no longer at the den. We could actually hear some of the vehicles' movements that were at the wild dog sighting quite close to the den, as in close for us to hear. And that got Ntima's attention, and she got up and left. But good for her. Hopefully she'll get something. Hopefully they'll all be able to share. So we're now on Zoe's Road trying to pick up on some tracks. So far I haven't seen any tracks, any leopard tracks or lion tracks. Plenty of hyena tracks all around, which is lovely to see. Lots of movement. But no leopard tracks just yet. It's starting to warm up a little bit, but the temperature has been great these last few. Even last stint, the temperature was quite good. It was cold in the morning, cold in the evenings, but in between quite warm. So that's always something to look forward to when we get out here and we're a little bit cold. It also means that there could be more movement for our predators later on in the morning instead of just in that early bit of the day. I've also been looking forward to seeing some elephants. And there's some nice fresh dung, so it's a good sign. We'll keep an eye out for the big grey giants. Hi Liam, good morning. You'd like to know if the hyenas would go for the wild dog's kill? Yep, definitely. We see it very, very often. Hyenas will be far behind. Not far behind, rather. Hello, you. No. Oh, he's beautiful. And it's a lovely kudu. Nice bull. He's just moved off. There's a small gap in front. I'm going to see if I can find that gap. Sorry, Liam. Hyenas will definitely not be far behind from a wild dog with a kill. In fact, anything with a kill will be great. He's all the way there. Maybe if I just roll back a little bit. That's a little better. Hello, beauty. That's nice. Really, really nice. He doesn't have, his horns are very large, but they could definitely do with some more depth to his spirals. Now, coming back to your question, Liam, hyenas and wild dogs have lots of interactions, and in most of the cases, in terms of hyenas and any other predator, I find that wild dogs and hyenas, they have most action happening between them, because with the leopard, hyenas will hang out at the bottom of the tree, and it seems to be that a leopard won't really go for the hyena because it means that they could get injured, and it's vice versa. So there's a standoff, you know, one in a tree, one at the bottom. But the wild dogs seem to just love to irritate hyenas, and hyenas irritate wild dogs. And sometimes it almost seems playful, because I've had a sighting with the wild dogs in a group. Everybody's done eating now and they're all sitting down on the road, and then the hyenas were sitting down on the road with them, and then occasionally they'll look up and like nip each other's bottoms and then sit down again next to each other. So they definitely have more of an interaction in terms of, you know, movement and touch and stuff like that than I've seen with hyenas and any other type of predator. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to keep my head down and look for tracks and send you back over to Steve.
Welcome back. Well, here on the dam wall, we've got a few wild dogs, and then one coming down the dam wall itself with a carcass in its mouth. The lucky winner of the first impala, I think, that they killed. Look how excited this one is. Getting a little bit sandy. It's like a sandwich on the beach. You can see how that's pretty much the skull and spinal cord all the way back to the hips of the first impala that they ripped apart. And they don't really break many of the bones. They strip the body very quickly of meat, and now there's going to be an interaction between that wild dog and a hyena in a moment. Hyenas are always very quick to try and steal food from the wild dogs. They follow them. You don't often see there we go, there's the hyena just off to the left. You don't often see the wild dogs actually physically attack the hyena unless there is food, unless there's a resource to compete for. I often see them hanging out quite close to each other. As we know, hyenas have got very powerful jaws, and a wild dog getting bitten by a hyena is a very, very bad situation to be in. Hyenas often get harassed by the dogs if they do try to steal the food, but they've learned to live with it. Opportunistic, stealing food from from wild dog and leopard alike. Now, who is that? I'm not sure, but interesting that it's not attempting to try to steal that carcass off of that wild dog towards the back. Christine, there's a couple of them here are quite small. For example, down here on my right, there's one little one here that's running off. But more than 7 months, because they've got the tricolour coloration. So I don't know the status of this pack. I don't know where they are, where they've been hanging out. What I do know is that the female from, I think the alpha and the beta female of the Pungwe pack actually moved off, if I'm not mistaken. And she joined up with this pack. And I don't know if she's had pups, but she's definitely had before. Her mammary glands were very, very enlarged, which indicated she's definitely been a mother. But I don't know the status of them at the moment and what their breeding strategy or success is at the moment. But there's no pups with them at the moment. There's some really small sub-adults. At least 7-8 months ago, plus minus, I would say. Let me just turn around. We've got a little bit of yelping and whelping behind us there. Give me some food. I missed out on the kill. Give me some. What are you doing? I think he's a bit sore. I'm not actually sure what's going on. There's a dominance display going on here. Not really sure what all of that was about. Maybe they're missing somebody. Bill, yes, well, Gert and I had to move out quickly. We made space for other vehicles, and we thought that might be our morning done with regards to the wild dogs. We went and had a breather up on top of the hill, and then listened to the radio, and people were leaving. So we decided, well, we don't get to spend every day with wild dogs, so we have come back again. So Bill, deep breathing, very important, deep breath out. So to see that all live in front of the camera like that, everybody, is very special to be able to film it, because we don't often get to see the takedown, because the wild dogs move so quickly. When I was here a month or so ago, we had the wild dogs, the Pungwe. Was it the Pungwe pack? Yeah, it was the Pungwe pack. Made a kill on quarantine. And we got the end of it, but we didn't actually get to see the takedown. We never get to see that, because to find yourself in the right position when dogs are on the move is nigh impossible. But with the dogs being around the water, we are just very blessed this morning to have been in the perfect position to have captured all of that. I think, though, Gert, that we have definitely earned ourselves a coffee. We find ourselves at a beautiful watering hole with wild dogs starting to take it quite easy. Doesn't mean that their morning is over, but it's possible that they will sort of lie down for the day now. They've done a lot of movement. But if some of them are still hungry, there we go. Some of them are still hungry. This can all change. Laura Moore, they do look like they're looking for someone, don't they? They do look like they're looking for somebody. I haven't managed to get another head count. They're doing the whining sound. They're not doing the loud wild dog call. That's the contact call, the loud wild dog call. Covers quite some distance. Okay, well, we're going to try and get ourselves in a better position. We're going to send you over to Marcus.
Welcome back to And Beyond Ngala, everyone. So we have found ourselves this female giraffe that's busy feeding, as well as checking its surroundings. I'm sure you saw it a bit earlier when it looked in that one direction. But now, as you can see, it's stripping off those leaves of that tree. And it looks like it's just one giraffe here that we can see. And as you can see, she is looking at her sides quite regularly. So I'm sure much as she does have got a height advantage, as you can see, but she might feel a bit vulnerable just being by herself. And well, I'm sure she knows that there are some lions around, and she can't really afford not to know what's happening around her. And so this giraffe, why I say it's a female, I'm sure you might have seen her horns, or ossicons as they are affectionately known. You see a bit of tufts just on the edge, like on top of the horns. See, they're tufted. So mostly the males will have bold horns, because with the horns they fight with those horns, unlike these females. And it is quite unusual for a female just to find her by herself like this. Mostly you'll find them in groups, or maybe a mother and her calf. But looks like she's just going about her day, feeding off that tree. Which is a leadwood tree that she's feeding on. And I'm sure you can see that she does look a bit darker in color. So I know that some people might say that it's the males that are darker in color like this, but not necessarily, as it's evident with this female here. As you can see, mostly this will depend on genetics. So you will find females that are this dark, and then other females that are lighter, same as with males. So she's leaving that one tree now. How majestic is that? There you go. And you can see that she does really have got a height advantage like that. You see high up that tree she is feeding. And so with a giraffe, it's one of those indicator species that if you get to an area like this, you will find a giraffe. Sometimes they will try and point you in the direction of a predator lurking around. Because with that height advantage, she is able to see a good distance away from where she is. As you can see, she's facing that direction now. So if you see giraffe stopping feeding like that, and then looks like she's interested, or it's interested in one direction, so it's worth checking in that direction, because mostly they will be able to see predators that are trying to stalk them, and sometimes even walk towards those predators, because most of them use the stalking technique. So as long as this giraffe might have them on sight, she doesn't feel like she'll be in danger as yet. Quite nice to see, and I'm sure you can see the sun is up now, so it's really nice and getting warm. I agree with you, Julia. This is a very beautiful giraffe indeed. You see how it's chewing the leaves there. There are some impalas that making the noise in that direction that she is looking at. So, but it sounds just like more like ratting than these impalas making a alarm call. Oh, I can see there's oxpeckers on her attendants now. And she's looking directly at us. So that's one other thing about this giraffe. It is rather inquisitive. So it's looking, also making up her mind about whether or not we are a threat. Those beautiful eyelashes, eh? Just busy having her breakfast there. Well, much as it's very nice viewing or seeing this beautiful giraffe going about her day feeding, in the meantime, we'll just leave this area, try to search for more animals that we'll be able to show you, and then we are going to send you over to Steve with his wild dogs.
Welcome back to Juma, everybody, where our dog has got a bone. So there's 2 impalas that were killed in the space of, 5 or 10 minutes. Still trying to count the numbers. Still only got about 10. There's another one coming from directly in front of us now. Looks like they might actually give it a bit of a hard time. Let me just move that so you can see. That's the one that was lost. That was at Sydney's dam. Let's see how they integrate with him. He missed out on all the fun. Now he's going to get berated for it. Where were you? Where were you? Oh, one of them's got an injury on the shoulder there. Hello. Looks like it got its own kill, though. It's covered in blood. Covered in blood. He must have eventually got that impala on his own. That's why he's getting berated, because he smells of blood. It's covered in blood. He was... It's just try reposition for you. Our dogs are being very playful, everybody, which is great. How's that, Gat? Hammond, I mean, there's all likelihood. I don't know. I mean, some of them are looking relatively full, but some have not eaten very well. You saw when they were killing that second impala that there were at least 3 that were still running around. They didn't have access to the kill. So it really depends on whether the alphas are satisfied. There's lots of whining going on, lots of begging. But it is starting to warm up. Getting time to take off some layers. It's possible that they will go find themselves some shade. But then this afternoon, early evening, is another story altogether. Okay, well, we're going to stay here with our dogs until we run out of space. We're going to send you over to Obi to say good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. Look at the beautiful lighting there with the gemsbok. A few of the males there are literally just sparring and throwing those horns around. Interesting to see. Beautiful light, bright blue skies. There's not much of a breeze like last night, so a very peaceful morning this morning. My name is Ovakeng, and behind the camera there we've got PK doing a very wonderful job for us with that lens. Today I'm gonna be heading more east of the reserve towards those mountains that you can see in the background. The main aim would be to look for the Kalahari black-maned lions, or the males, and just see them. I hope we'll be fortunate this morning. Last night we heard them giving a good roar, so I'm hoping that's the direction that they would be in. So fingers crossed. Let's head in that direction and see what Mother Nature provides for us. You can see some of the males there still pushing each other once in a while. It's important that they do that, keeping everything in check. So I'll leave you with that thought. Let's go on and try find these male lions. While we do that, we're going to be sending you over to another very beautiful location.
Take 27. I'm Carol from Chicago, USA. This is me 5 years ago. No music, no editing, real time. I was hooked. Thank you so much for that, Wild Earth.
I had lost my job, and I also lost one of my pets. So Wild Earth has seen me through very hard times, and I just want to thank all of you for being there for me when I needed you most.
We love you. We start and end our day with you, teaching our grandkids all about nature through you, your wonderful educational safaris.
We really do appreciate being on safari with you, especially when it's cold and wintry in Canada.
And considering we've been in lockdown for 18 months here in Saudi and I've not been able to fly back to South Africa, I want to thank you for bringing your safari back into my life every single day and night. I love it, love it, love it.
The Mara Triangle is a jewel in the Kenyan conservation crown, and thanks to the dedication of the Mara Conservancy, it thrives as one of Earth's greatest national treasures.
We have been experiencing a reduction in the wire snails that we collect on a monthly basis. And this is basically attributed to our intense patrols.
Over the years, this courageous team of anti-poachers has reduced poaching to almost zero.
Mimi naitwa Stephen Olereso. Nimefanya kazi miaka 16 sasa. Kuanzia mwaka 2002. Hao wanadamu ni wenye utua sana sana inaogofya ni wale wenye wanaenda kama ndovu. Wanatumia kama bunduki. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa inakuanga hatari sana sana kwa sisi.
As a result of the global pandemic and the massive reduction in tourist revenue, the Mara Triangle is facing a financial crisis. They need your help if they are to continue their ability to protect this magical land.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
We talked about reading the bush newspaper. So now can you see the article that I see? If you are having any trouble spotting what I spot, I'll help you out. Just over here is a beautiful lion track that I've just outlined over there, going that way. And she was being followed by a hyena, whose tracks I'm just outlining over here. Okay, now I know this is a hyena because right over there is a very beautiful claw mark, and you see it's asymmetrical. It only has these two lobes, okay, and they were both heading that way, and these tracks are of a similar age. So now when this lioness was busy hunting impalas or trying to stalk impalas on impala plains, they spotted her eventually, which means that they would have started alarm calling, and those alarm calls would have attracted the attention of this hyena. So we're about 200 or 300 meters from where we first had her tracks. She's heading that way, and this hyena is now basically following behind her, or was following behind her last night, in the hopes that maybe if she made a kill, it could call its friends or the rest of its clan, and they come and maybe try and steal some of that carcass, or even chase her off the carcass completely, which is definitely possible with a single lioness and a whole clan of hyenas. We've just heard, maybe 2 minutes ago, some type of alarm calling of impalas in the distance. It wasn't very persistent, but we're hoping that if we head this way, we might start to find more evidence of this lioness. Perhaps she's taken a rest somewhere in the drainage line, and with a bit of a breeze that's starting to pick up, maybe the impalas can smell her. So it's a good opportunity for us to maybe get a bit closer and see if we can find her. Always have to be quite wary. She is on her own, which means she will be quite skittish and nervous. So if she sees us, she's likely to move away from us before we even get close. So when you're tracking an animal like this, you need to be very quiet and very alert. So not only are we checking for these tracks, but we're listening for alarm calls, and we're smelling for any sort of smell of a carcass, looking for movement. Right now it's very still. There's a little bit of a breeze, but it's not too much. So it's a really good opportunity for us to try and track this animal. If I feel which way is the breeze going, sometimes it's a really good idea to pick up a bit of sand and just drizzle it like this. You can see that the sand is blowing that way, which means she won't smell us as we come. Sorry, Hillary, the communications broke up there, so I didn't quite get your question. If you could please repeat that to me, please, Gwyn. Hillary, I'd love to answer. It was something about the lioness.
Can the hyena challenge the lioness?
So, Hillary, one single hyena? Probably not. One single hyena wouldn't really be too much of a threat to a lioness. The lioness is probably about twice as heavy as that hyena. However, if that hyena got joined by 2 or 3 other members of a clan, they've got powerful jaws, strong necks, and they can really bite and hurt this lioness. And if this lioness who's alone is injured in some way, she's much less likely to be able to hunt successfully, and that means that she's much less likely to survive. So she will rather probably abandon a carcass if hyenas turn up than try to fight them for the carcass. But if she's lucky, she might at least be able to get a few big chunks of meat in her belly to keep her going to the next hunt. And if she's lucky, she can bring an animal down quietly by clasping on its neck, stopping it from calling out, and then hopefully she will be able to finish the whole carcass, stuff it in a bush somewhere. And it's winter now, it's quite cool. So it means those carcasses don't start to smell until day 2 or even day 3 sometimes if it's nice and cool and stashed away underneath the bushes. So maybe she'll be very lucky. But anyway, we hope we can get a bit further and find this lioness lying down somewhere in the bushes. We're going to send you over to Trishala whilst we continue tracking.
I have some very small, very cute critters visiting us this morning. Oh, look at them. Some dwarf mongoose, everyone. They're out and about. It's nice and warm now. sunning themselves. They've just been on the mound. There's some that are still on the mound, sitting on the eastern side and absorbing all the sunlight that they can, basking, warming up those little bodies. And they're going to go out foraging. There's quite a few youngsters here. It can be difficult to tell when one is young or not, but it's much easier, or it makes it very easy when there's actually many of them together, so you can actually see size difference. Because they're so small as it is, it can be difficult if it's on their own. You could think that something looks small, but then you realize, oh, that's just the size of them. So it's important to see them all together, thankfully, because they are a very social little carnivore. They usually are together. Look at them. Very, very sweet. I'm just going to turn on my radio quickly. This is quite a little mound, but as you know, termite mounds extend below the surface quite deeply, and you can see that these guys have come out towards the base of the mound, but they'll also move to the top of the mound. They'll also move underground, so they'll use the tunnels that are underground and even that connect different mounds together. So I've seen them go down one of these and then come up like in the holes in the ground where termite mounds have been kind of eroded, but they're tunneling. The holes in the ground still exist, so they're just short little mounds on the road or on the side of the road. They'll pop in through one like this and come out through one like that. They use them to cross the road sometimes. I remember seeing that actually on Impala Road we were just on. Very sweet. I also enjoy their curiosity. Always looking at us, trying to investigate us, so aware of us, but also so cautious. Hi, Lulu. You say you love these little guys. They're so cute. They really, really are. Very, very cute. But also remember that they're carnivores. In the order Carnivora, when I say that, there's many animals that are carnivorous, but carnivores is in the smallest one in the order Carnivora. So that means they have the dentition of a carnivore, and they use their teeth for the specific act of finding and killing prey. So they have those, I was going to call them carnivorous canines. There we go. They have very sharp canines, one in each quadrant of the jaw, so 4 canines that they need for the prey that they take, which includes all kinds of invertebrates as well as reptiles, eggs, pretty much anything they can get their hands on. They have quite robust claws as well to help them catch that prey. The best I've seen, listen to them call. The best I've seen though is a mongoose with just like an insect in its mouth. Nothing too hectic. Sonia, you'd like to know if all mongoose species are diurnal? Nope. While most of them are. Look at this. On the ground. There's just a very cool interaction happening. Sonia, while most are diurnal, not all are. The white-tailed mongoose that we get here is nocturnal. This youngster is chasing the starling. They would interact with lots of bird species, starling included, but more commonly with hornbills and drongos as well. So they're very familiar with these common birds that we see around. So it's not as if they're scared of it or they're trying to chase it away. They're actually just familiarizing themselves with that animal. It's very nice to watch them all together. Sometimes, especially in the middle of the road, you might see them all together. You'll see them kind of all feeding together, as well as some squirrels. Even though they might not be touching or anything like that, it's nice to see them interacting peacefully. Anyway, off we go. We're going to send you over to Steve. He's still following his dogs.
Thanks, Trish. Well, our dogs are on the move, and we're pretty much back where we found them. They are heading in the opposite direction, back towards the west.
Look at that. I want to go closer.
Heading back to where they came from. So the one wild dog who joined the group before that we spoke about, we had them coming back and everybody gave him a bit of a hard time, or was covered in blood. Apparently there was a steenbok that had been chased into Sydney's dam that he eventually went in and grabbed and pulled out and ate himself. So lots of action this morning for this pack. Now I've only counted 11 now in this group. I think a few of them got left behind at the dam eating some bones and feeding on some remains. 11, but there's definitely a few of them that are quite young. There's lots of begging and lots of whining going on. So everybody, the action this morning might not yet be over, but we find ourselves once again all alone with the wild dogs. Pete, it really does change, you know, depending on where you are. Wild dogs can have anywhere from 12 to 24 puppies at a time. So a pack of dogs that are only 5 or 3 can suddenly become close to 30 in no time at all. But we've spent time with the Hamilton pack, which were 22, the Pungwe pack, which was 9, these fellows, which are 11. Oh, sorry, probably 13. I don't know how many there actually are. There's probably 14. We only counted 13 earlier with the one missing. And then I spent time with the Kalahari pack in Pridens that numbered 20-something, 20 plus. So it's really hard to give you a number on the averages. They get quite large and then they break off. And they get large, they break off. So I don't know if there's an average number. But anywhere from middle teens to middle 20s is sort of what we've seen. But there are packs in Africa that range up into the 40s. That's just quite a formidable number. Some very full bellies there. Indeed, Luke, a pack of fat dogs. Off they go towards the north and the west, and we shall continue on after them. What a morning. We haven't gone very far. This is where we found them. And we did our opening there. We did one of these and one of those. And now we're going back again. So, as I said before, when we were lost in the first time, I said they'll come back. They tend to do these circles. There's no such sort of straight line with dogs. They move. They move. And what their intention is and where they're headed, I don't really know. You know, often you find a pride of lions moving, and then they hunt, and then they generally keep moving in the same sort of direction that they were headed. Dogs, though, you can never be sure. I think they might settle here for a little. Some of them have gone off into the shade on the left. Okay, well, we're going to get around to the other side of this bush. Maybe the dogs are going to settle while we send you over to Obi, who's doing some tracking.
Welcome back to Tswalu Kalahari. As I was saying earlier, that we want to look for these black-maned Kalahari lions. Now, if you look over there, right over there, I mean, look at the size. Just going to measure it against my hand. Look at that. That's the front paw of one of the males walking in that direction. So we are in good area. This is very, very fresh. There's no evidence of anything walking on top of it. So that would be the first sign that it's very, very fresh. Obviously, size gives it away that it would be a male. But bear in mind, because here it's very sandy, our tracks tend to be slightly bigger because the sand spreads as it gets weight of the animal. But also look at how perfect the lobes at the back are. So this is one of the males heading that way. But looking further on the road, it actually looks like there were two males walking in this direction, which makes perfect sense. You often find male lions in collisions. So one was walking on this side and one was walking on the other side of the road. So I'm going to try catch up with these males and see where they're heading. There is a watering hole in the same direction that they're heading, so they could be headed that way. But also interesting with how they were walking. Sorry, what I was trying to say is, you can say how fast they were walking. Melissa, can you tell the age of the male based on the track? Not exactly. You can give an estimate of, is it a cub? Is it a sub-adult? Is it a full-grown adult? You can tell if it's male, if it's female. You can tell left or right. So I'll try go into a bit of detail with that, and I hope you'll be able to see it. I'm gonna try, BK, try follow, stick with me. Let's go back to the same track that we were talking about. Now, one of the easiest ways of telling, apart from size, as we spoke about size, that the size referring to my hand shows that this would be a male in particular. One of the other ways, again, measuring with my hand or putting my hand there almost gives you an indication when tracking which is left, which is right. Just like our hands, look at how my fingers go like that. So that almost can give you an indication of left or right. So that would be the right, that would be the left. But interesting there, what had happened is the front is there, but the back leg stepped over the front. Look at that. And that's how it was walking, going there with the left and right. So that also gives you the pace of what the animal was doing. Sometimes you find the back foot being separate, so that will determine the pace of the animal. With females, speaking of that, they would be slightly smaller. The legs would be slightly smaller and not as round as that. Now, you can imagine the males have this big mane in front, and they've got big shoulders and upper body, so the weight in front is much bigger, and that's why the front foot is so round and big, and the back is actually a little bit more elongated, and that's why you can tell between front and back foot. So yes, it's a very interesting question with aging and telling male and female from treks, but as to the exact number of years, unfortunately I cannot do that. One other thing you really cannot do with trek is telling time. You can give an estimate of morning, last night, yesterday, a day or so, but to say this happened at 7:45 and 46 seconds, no. When it comes to trekking, we cannot do that. Or at least let me speak for myself. I cannot do that, and I have not met a trekker that can actually do that. So let's not waste more time on these treks. They're still very fresh and hot, so I want to pursue them and see if we can be very lucky. So stick with us as we drive along to try find them. Thank you. Alrighty. I didn't hear that. Yeah, I lost that. So while we try follow up on these treks and see where they take us, I will be sending you over to Pride Lands. Enjoy.
So Obi was showing off these beautiful male lion tracks, and as you can see, it's starting to get warmer, it's sunnier, the wind is blowing, and we've managed to find some slightly smaller tracks, which I think is great to be able to show the comparison. What we've got here are some tracks of what looks like a female leopard. So I'll just circle the track for you over here, so you can just see it's not very clear, but you can just see the track in here. There's one toe, another toe, another toe, and the fourth toe, and there's the back of the track over there. So if I put my hand next to it, you can see it's far, far smaller than my hand. It would in fact fit inside the palm of my hand, which, as Obi showed, compared to his track, his hand, the lion's track is quite large. And this is an extremely small leopard, and I'll show you why I think it's an extremely small one. If you look over here, there's a track. Okay, I'm going to circle that. There's a track here, there's a track over there, and there's a track over here. Okay, now what you do to get a rough estimate of the size, put a line there and a line there. This leopard's body, not including its head and tail, is only this big, okay? That's as big as the body of this leopard. So with the head, probably over there somewhere. With the tail would be stretching over there somewhere. So then it becomes a bit longer, but this is almost certainly a female, and if it's not a female, it's an extremely young leopard, and it was walking in that direction. The lioness that we had, the tracks are also here, she's walking that way. So now I'll just show you the comparison there again. That's the track size here of this very, very small leopard, smaller than the palm of my hand. Now let's move across to this lion whose tracks were just over here. Show you, there's one track there. There's a nice track over here of this lion. So you can see there, I'll put it this way, that track is bigger than the palm of my hand. Not much bigger, but definitely bigger than the palm of my hand. Okay, so there's a track there, there's a track over there, and a track over here. So this lion is far larger with the tail and the head going over here. So it's a much larger animal. That lion is probably almost as long as my entire body. Okay, so that's pretty fantastic. And she's moving in that direction. So we haven't heard any more alarm calls. So maybe what it was with those impalas, maybe smelt something. It's a little bit breezy. Perhaps when she walked through here, she left some scent marking, and that got them a little bit alarmed. But it seems to have gone quiet. There were some hyena tracks still following in this direction, but so far not much. We've probably traveled almost a kilometer from where we first saw the track. So we're actually getting quite far from where we first sounded. And Tyler, it's incredible what information you can get from tracks. You can even tell how fast or slow an animal is moving from tracks like these. Now, if you look at these tracks that we have right here, Tyler, they're not very distinct. They're quite indistinct. And although they're fresh from last night, this shows that this lioness was moving fairly quickly. She wasn't hanging about. She was loping along quite swiftly, which meant that she's often, as she puts her toes down, she flicks backwards a little bit of sand. And that's what makes the track a little bit more indistinct. So she was on the move. At this point, it doesn't look like she was hunting anymore. She was maybe just patrolling her territory or just moving out of an area where she felt like she wasn't going to have luck with hunting. So there's so much we can tell. If this lioness's tracks were on top of each other like this, it's called registering, and that means that she's moving really, really slowly, trying to sneak up and be as silent as possible, because of course she can see where her front feet land, and then if she puts her back feet directly on top of that track, she knows she's going to be as quiet as possible. So it's really interesting to see her different movement styles that we've been following as we've been walking. But let's hope that we can keep going a little bit longer and get some more fresh signs of her.
Do you dream of an African holiday in unparalleled luxury? Where your days are spent in the company of wildlife and cooling off in your very own plunge pool? Well, this month's prize may be the one for you. Expertly camouflaged into the unspoiled environment of the world-famed Sabi Sand Game Reserve, it's hard not to fall in love with Simbambili. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer before the end of May, and you and a friend could be jetting off to this ultimate escape from reality. A luxurious safari and spa getaway wrapped up in one impressive package. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature. The Endangered Wildlife Trust fights at the forefront of conservation, across the vast Karoo and sweeping grasslands, in remote pockets of forest, along road networks, across African skies, and in communities to conserve our wildlife and wild spaces. Help us to protect forever, together. Donate now at ewt.org.za.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially sabaots and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
They are calling, and here comes one. It's heard the call. It's heard the call of the wild dog. This will mean 12. I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. It's nice to just keep quiet sometimes when these dogs are making noises, and we've got another individual who is going to join them in a moment, and you're going to see some excitement. They always get very excited when they see each other, even if it's only been a few minutes. Now, they actually got a fright there because they didn't know it was coming. And there's movement in the long grass. Goodness me. Off they go. And so shall we. Now, they saw something coming out of the long grass, which is actually one of their family. That caused them to bolt. Some of them in the road up ahead. Some of them just here. Yeah, you can probably hear it. There's just one here. Here they come. Oh, have you been missing your family? So everyone, we've got a few other people interested in this sighting, so we're going to make some space. We have had an absolutely fantastic morning with our wild dogs. You saw how I was saying that the one was about to join, and they saw movement of something they weren't sure what it was, and instead of standing their ground, they just bolted. And that's what these predators do. There's nothing to defend. There's no puppies to defend. There's no meat to defend. There's no point standing one's ground. So off they went, scattered, and they will come all back together again shortly. But how blessed are we? Gat? What can I say, everybody? So we're going to move out. We've got two other vehicles making their way, so we're going to make some space. We're going to go see what else we can find. We haven't gone further than a few hundred meters radius from Djuma camp itself. Thank you. No, you're welcome. We're going to move out. Thank you. Enjoy. Enjoy. What a morning. What a morning. Clint, they do. They know how to take a road trip indeed. Sure. Spectacular. Well, the dogs are probably going to be on Djuma again this afternoon. I'll have a listen for where they end up. We might try to follow up on them this afternoon, but they won't be far from here. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to this live African experience, live bush experience. Now, what we saw this morning, you don't see every day. I can tell you that. I've never seen a dog go into the water and pull the impala out. I think I summed up 3 situations there. 1, the dogs leave, the impala survives. 2, the impala drowns, and 3, the dogs pull the impala out. And I've never seen that before, but every day, lessons to be learned out here. And I'm super blessed and glad that you were all able to watch that with us. And if you've missed what has transpired this morning, go back a bit and have a look at the wild dogs hunting about an hour or so ago. When they hunted and killed an impala that tried to save its life by jumping into Voyatela Dam. Fortunately, it did not work out very well for the impala. But the meat will sustain that pack and help them with their survival. So it is a very intricate part of the system. The wild dogs move. They don't have a territory per se. They do move around quite large areas. And so we find them here and there and everywhere. And how many packs of wild dogs have I seen in this area now? I'm going to have to count. But while we figure that out, let's send you over to Obi and see how he's getting along with his tracking.
Thank you very much there, Steve. We're having a good morning there. We're also having a good morning here with our trekking. We've just been by a watering hole, and it looks like these lions did drink and changed direction. We're now heading south, but the treks are getting fresher and fresher. Still on the road, coming in and out on this road that we are on, and I'm hoping we're not too far. Something tells me they might be up on a dune, sunning themselves, because it's a little bit chilly, so I'm hoping that we're very, very close. this is usually where they would be heading when they are busy patrolling. So it looks like they were patrolling because the pace here is a constant pace. Not too slow, but they were missioning somewhere. So they were really having a goal of where they wanted to get. Almost like marching, if I can compare it, and give you perspective of how quickly it looks like they were walking. Very, very interesting. It keeps us on our toes. I mean, trekking is like just trying to see what the crime scene leads you or offers you, and that's what makes it so interesting. Looks like they go into this block now, so I'm gonna cut onto the next road and see if they do come out on the next road. Jackson, how many prides are currently in Tswalu? We've got 2 prides in Tswalu. We've got what we call the Southern Pride and the Northern Pride. And between them, there's 4 dominant males that would be patrolling this area. And often these males would cross boundaries and territories. So I'm not sure which 2 males we are following, but I am definitely sure that it is 2 males. And the area that we are in is usually where the Southern Pride operates. So both prides at current have cubs. So these boys must have been patrolling and trying to mark and also trying to suss out new opportunities elsewhere. Little do they know, I don't think there would be any much opportunity for them with the females as yet. A lot of our cubs are still very young for any female to be receptive at this age. The youngest cubs of the Southern Pride, I speak under correction, but I think they are about 4 or 5 months old now, and the oldest just over a year. So it takes a bit of time before they can get lucky again. So let's see what keeps these boys on their toes or what they were up to. Not too far from the junction that leads to the next road. So I'm hoping I'll be able to pick up the tracks again. And if we don't, then we know these boys are laying somewhere in this block. And that's how we find the animals. You'd round the block and block it off and know that the animals are still in that particular block. So let's find out. While we do that, I'm gonna be sending you over to another very beautiful location in Africa. Enjoy.
Absolutely classic. So we had an African hawk eagle in a tree. It just flew off. I know it's gone a bit far now. We can't see it anymore. But we're still on tracks of this lioness. There was an interesting development. Whilst we were following this lioness's tracks, we bumped into Morris, our expert tracking partner, and he was on tracks of a leopard. The same leopard which I showed you before. Those tracks that I had were a bit older. He had very fresh tracks of 3 leopards. The mother and the 2 youngsters, they've headed south. We've left him to continue tracking the mother with the 2 sub-adults. We think it's probably the pixie pan female and her 2 youngsters. But we've still got the lioness's tracks going down the road in this direction here. I'll just show you if I can find one. Yeah, just over here. This is actually now a larger leopard. The lioness's tracks are just here. You can't see it very clearly, but there's a larger leopard track over here. So it looks like Pixie Pan female might have also had a young male leopard attending her. This could be one of her youngsters that's separated off. Here's the lioness's tracks here. You can't see it very clearly, but it's basically, there's one toe just over there. Oh, listen. Oh, there's alarm calling somewhere in that direction. Can you hear it? Just listen carefully. Stop now. But certainly in this area, there is stuff going on. So we're quite close now. Listen, now it's calling again. Oh. Animals are so infuriating. As soon as I say listen, they stop. In any case, we are still hot on the heels of this lioness, and in the area were still 3 leopards, maybe even 4 leopards moving around here. Leopard Dam is not far from us. It's getting hot now. I don't know if we'll make it all the way to Leopard Dam, but she was certainly walking down here, and those 3 leopards. So chances are they've gone to rest somewhere in the drainage line that's just off to our left to wait out the hottest part of the day. They sometimes drink when it's very hot because it's the time when most animals are now relaxing. She doesn't want to alarm them during the middle of the, or rather during the time when she wants to hunt, early evening or early morning. She'll rather come out during the day, drink some water, and then go and lie down in the shade. That way, at least most animals are calm, relaxed. She's not hunting. She'll show them signs she's not hunting by just walking out in the open. So keep our fingers crossed. We're going to send you over to Marcus, who's just bumbling around in the meantime whilst we keep searching for this lion.
Well, good luck to Mike finding the lioness, and we are still at it, trying to catch up with the Birmingham Pride with no luck this far. So I'm sure even the viewers will appreciate this at home, that much as sometimes you do see these animals quite often, sometimes there will be days like this where you will just look for them. Takes much longer time and you find them, but other times you will look for them and just don't. It is what it is out here in the bush. But yeah, we are heading towards the western part of our property, and we'll eventually get to one waterhole that we know has got some crocodiles as well as some hippos. But yeah, when we get to that waterhole, it is now warm, or hot if I can call it that. Not too bad though. But some animals might even go to that waterhole just to drink some water. And with luck, maybe we'll get there and then find that there are some animals drinking, or even find those crocodiles out the waterhole sunning themselves for the morning, which will be quite nice to see. But yeah, as for the Birmingham Pride, so far no luck. So Lala, you would like to know how often we come across leopards. It's at the moment, I will say not too often at all. Because as you can see, the bushes are thick here at the moment, and with leopards being known to camouflage themselves quite well, you might find that when we are driving like this, we are driving past some leopards. That is always a possibility. But if they hear the car, or if they see you, they just lie low on these tall grasses, which won't be as easy to see them. So it's just more about being in the right place at the right time when you do find leopard. Maybe you find one that is hoisted a keel up a tree. That's quite easy to see. And also maybe you come across a road and find one that is crossing the road to the other side. That's how you will be able to see them. Most of the leopards that are here at the moment are quite skittish, I must say. There are leopards that we find every now and then, but they don't stick around that you will be able to show them to the viewers. But yeah, we do get some leopards, not as often though. But it would be nice to see one now, because it has been a good while since I last saw a leopard. But yeah, you can't really rule anything out yet for as long as you are still out here in the bush, still driving, still looking. And that's the interesting part, or the more exciting part, is looking for these animals using all sort of evidence that you can find on the road, whether be it a track, whether be it what looks like an animal drag, because you can see those drag marks as well. And sometimes you will be able to see some scat maybe on the road. You will be able to tell more or less how fresh the scat looks. And also using the type of the day, all these animal movements, using the animal behavior to be able to know more or less what they might be doing at that time. So that's some exciting stuff as well. I know seeing these animals, it's even better, but this search, looking for these animals, it's more exciting. So Dawn would like to know whether the roast males have been spotted recently. Yes, Dawn. So yesterday in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, the roast males were seen somewhere south of our property, and they were together at that time. So no sign of them this morning, or no updates of them this morning. But yeah, the last time they were seen was yesterday afternoon. Hopefully they'll be out this afternoon as well, that we'll be able to go view them. It will be quite nice also to catch up with the roast males. But yeah, so we are still making our way towards that waterhole. And I'm just hoping that we'll find maybe some animals who are trying or might be having a drink. Yeah, so we are going to be in that waterhole maybe in the next 7 to 10 minutes to see what it is that we'll be able to find that site. And now we are gonna send you over to Mike in the Pride Lands.
So we've come to more or less the end of our tracking of this lioness, because we found where she stopped. She was walking steadily down this road, about 100 meters down that way. We found a track going the opposite direction, and we wondered what's going on. We kept going, and we found where she stopped. She was walking steadily down here, then she stopped. Look here, you can see this is her tail. Okay, all the way here is her tail. This is her foot here, the back feet, one there, one there. She sat here, you can see she put her rump down just over here. This is one of her, I guess you'd call it the knee or the elbow. So as she sat backwards on her haunches, there you go, and she stopped here for a time. There's her front paws are here and here. She listened. Maybe she was coming down here, she stopped. She heard something behind her. She smelt, she listened, she looked that way. And then she decided to keep going that way, and we found her track now heading north towards our boundary. I don't know what it was. Perhaps she was hungry, she's looking for food. She heard something which caught her attention, maybe an alarm call or the sound of a young animal, who knows what it is, or maybe even other lions. And she turned and she went that way. We can hear impalas alarming and running in front of us. Suspect that's probably Morris, busy tracking those leopards who are also walking in this area, going that way. But we found where this lioness has stopped. She changed direction and headed north. We're not going to continue following, because our northern boundary is very close to us here now. And it's getting hot anyway. And so it was been a really fun experience trying to follow this lioness's tracks. And I think as you do it more and more often, it gets easier and easier to do now. I'm by no means an expert tracker, but doing this just every time you do it, it helps to heighten your awareness. Lyndon, I don't know. I mean, female lionesses generally tend to stay in the area that they're born with the group or the family or the pride that they're born to, unless the pride gets very large. Now, we think Lagatha went through some sort of traumatic experience. Perhaps we think her mother might have been killed by 2 male lions that moved in. She was a bit young to be mated, so she was in danger of being killed. So they chased her off, and she's staying around here because she knows it and because she's very successful here, and because there's so many hyenas here, it tends to keep other lions away. So she's been doing very well by herself, keeping a low profile. I think she'll stay here on Pride Lands and the surrounding area probably for her whole life. I really hope that she's getting to an age now where she's able to breed and she can attract the attentions of some of the larger, stronger males, the dominant males. If she's able to breed with them, then it means that she can establish herself as a new pride in this area, with those males protecting her youngsters from any danger, which will mean the next generation of lions. So let's hope that it's going to stay that way. And she tends to move to our northern boundary, as you can see here. From here, there's a track going that way. Then she moved over here. There's another track just over there. And then from there, you can see more tracks. So she's heading that way, heading towards our northern boundary, maybe just to investigate, maybe to seek other lions and other food sources. But as always, we know she loves the dams around Pride Lands and Ndlovu Dam and Leopard Dam. So hopefully she'll be back in no time, hunting something successfully, so we can watch her doing very, very well. But it's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed tracking with us. We're going to start making our way back towards where we left our vehicle. We've walked a couple of kilometers by now. And just to show you the leopard track that we also still have here. Just over here. Still that leopard, also quite fresh. Small leopard, probably a female, or maybe one of the youngsters from Pixie Pan, just over here. Walking directly towards where that lioness was. I almost wonder if this leopard is what caused that lioness to change direction. Not because she was afraid of it, but because she will actively try and seek out and hunt and kill any smaller predators. Perhaps she heard them or something. Well, it sounds like Obi has been successful. So let's send you over to him, where he's finally found his animal.
Mike, good luck with your trekking. We've just managed to locate these 2 boys. Our trekking helped us a lot. Look at that we found. I mean, look at the size of these boys. Amazing. I mean, those feet were what was giving us the treks earlier on. Look at that size. Amazing. Ginormous. I mean, they'll look slightly bigger than your average lion, and it's very simple as to why. Think about if you had to be walking on this loose sand every day, so their feet kind of start spreading and making a bigger surface area slightly so that they don't sink. But what also that does, it leads us to why they are called the black-maned lion. They actually, look at that dark mane there, they actually exert a lot of energy, and obviously when they do that, the body then is enticed to produce a lot of testosterone, and that's what builds up to that dark mane. I mean, even if you look on their actual body, there's that tinge of darkness or black on their body, and that's how they actually evolved or adapted to these arid areas. 2 brothers right there sunning themselves, full belly, eyes closed. Like they would say in Afrikaans, magisvol oogjes toe. It simply refers to full tummy, closed eyes. That is the direct translation of magisvol oogjes toe. It's exactly that. Beautiful specimens. Walked quite a distance. I mean, from where we started trekking them, it's about 6-7 kilometers that they walked all around. Very stunning creatures, I must say. And that amount of walking must have taken them, I would say, most of the night to get to where they were. So it does look like they've had something to eat. I'm not sure what, but those bellies look very full. So they're filled up for at least a couple of more days. And that brings us to the other thing about misconception about lion, that males don't hunt on their own. Obviously, these two boys have been on their own for a while now. We couldn't find any female tracks with them, so clearly they managed to get something on their own, whatever it was that they did get. So it's not very true that males don't hunt, and this is evidence that they can suffice on their own. I mean, they have to. Imagine having to cover distances, patrolling and so on. Sometimes they spend days without even getting to females. So they need to be able to hunt or get food somehow. I mean, sometimes they would scavenge if they have to, but they will predominantly hunt. Doing exactly what lions would do. Sleep. A lot of people say they're lazy. I beg to differ. It's just conserving energy. Never knowing when your next meal is going to be. I mean, that must be a terrifying thought in itself. And also having to have that excess amount of energy when any trouble comes your way, to be able to burst in that energy and fight if you have to fight. Patrol, like we were talking about patrolling, where they would be covering vast distances. So they're just saving that energy for that. It's not being lazy. Between 12 and 18 hours a day, this is what these guys would be doing. We'll stay with them a little bit and see what happens. They might move around once they warm enough, maybe into a shade or so. So we'll stay around here. But for that time, while we do that, we'll send you over to another location.
We have received our second batch of name plaques, which is super exciting. And Marcel is busy mounting them as we speak. For those of you that don't know, we are offering the opportunity for Wild Earth explorers to get their names engraved on a plaque like this. Once your name is on the plaque, it will then be attached onto the vehicle. Marcel, what are you up to?
I'm busy mounting plaques on Trusty Rusty.
This means that even though you're at home watching this, it'll still feel as though you're on the vehicle with us as we bumble about the bush. This means that V&A, Prajash, Melanie Greenwood, Linda J. Poley and Stephen Humbert will be riding along with us as we bumble through the bush, even though you're watching it from home. Now that the name plaques are on the back of the vehicle, it's time for us to head out and go and see what we can find.
For many years, Wild Earth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Yeah, so we are at that waterhole that we did mention that we are eventually going to end up on. And as you can see in front of you here, we've got a whole lot of water bucks as well as some zebras that look like they just made their way to come have a drink at this waterhole. And also on our right at this site, I'm not sure if Mpo will be able to see, there are some young male impalas that looks like they're also making their way to have a drink at this waterhole. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it's quite a nice place to come look at these animals, especially after that cold morning. And now the sun is up, it's starting to get hot. So these animals would make their way into water holes like this or into water bodies just to come have a drink. And as you can see, those zebras there on the other side of the water hole, looks like they're making their way away from this water hole, but you can see some tail swishing with them. So that will be like to get rid of those irritating flies while they are feeding like that. And you see with the water bugs as well, one of them is right on the edge of the water while the others are just around there. Others are feeding while others are just resting for the morning. So looks like this water hole is actually a winner, because much as it is exciting looking at lions, but I think it's equally as exciting looking at all these species in this one water hole here. So you've got water bugs, you've got zebras, and then you also have got these impalas. And then to the side of the water hole also you can't see much of. There are some hippos that are submerging time and again. So it's those crocodiles that I don't see at the moment, but I'm sure you'll be able to see the back of the hippo now. So time and again they will bring out their heads like that one. You can see the ears, those small tiny ears. But yeah, now because it's this hot, these hippos will very much enjoy being submerged in that water like that, just to keep themselves cool. And also the zebras feeding, there are some that are feeding close to a shade, because here as the temperatures that we get here, it gets that cold in the morning, and as the day goes by you can't really tell it's winter because it gets that hot. And also after sunset it drops quite quickly, it gets chilly again, but now I think it's a lovely day. And there's no cloud cover as well that tells it will be very, very hot as the day goes by. But how cool is this, seeing all the species in this one water hole here? So Mark would like to know if hippos are territorial. Yeah, Mark, hippos are territorial, so there will be a male in this water hole that he will sort of regard it as his territory. However, he is welcoming to other males in his turf here, as long as they can show submission, as long as they can know who's boss when they are around this water hole, then there won't really be any fights. They just have to know when to toe the line and try not to challenge him because he will not take lightly to that. But how cool, there's also a very nice breeze. I'm sure these animals will also appreciate as much as I do. Because, yeah, like I mentioned, it is getting hotter and hotter. Beautiful. There are no predators that we can see of, at least. But, yeah, having these zebras close here, having these impalas close here, it's quite nice because these ones can also sort of hint to you if there are some predators lurking. If they do see them, they will give an alarm back like that. But they look quite content just by being here, having their fill for the day. And also, of course, grazing, because there is good grazing grounds close to this water hole also. So to those viewers who do know all our water holes, or most of them, this Alfred Dam, by the way, this is the one that's in the western part of our reserve. Yeah, so it is quite something amazing to see, especially this time of the day where you see all these different species in one water hole. It is quite exciting to see how they're just going about their day, feeding, drinking, resting. But yeah, much as it is exciting, we'll just leave these animals to their morning and we'll continue with ours. So from here, we'll be making our way back central, hoping to find at least some evidence of maybe the Birmingham pride that might have walked. And in the meantime, we'll send you to the lions at Tswalu with Obakeng.
Well, Marcus, yeah, it's very interesting to see such species, especially around the water all this time. We're still here with our two boys. They haven't really done much. I was hoping maybe they would warm up a little bit and maybe then move into a shade and we could see them move a little bit. But they seem to be enjoying the sun. Nothing wrong with that. It really helps for them to warm up, and also part of taking care of their skin in a way. A little bit of vitamin D never hurts. So I'm gonna try maybe reposition and see if we can see the second male a little bit better there in the back. Yeah, let's try it and see what happens here. Lucas, how far are they from the Northern Pride? We are in the southern section of what we refer to as Lechaba. So they would be probably closer to the Southern Pride than they would be to the Northern Pride. The Northern Pride, mostly, as the name says, operates towards the north of this section of Lechaba. And they would cover approximately, I would say, about 10,000 hectares. So that would probably be about, sure, I speak under correction, but it's quite a big terrain. I would say just by 20 square, or if not more, square kilometers, if not more. Whereas the Southern Pride, there's about 4 main watering holes that they would almost mark their boundary with south of the reserve, and this is almost in between where these boys are. So if I had to take a wild guess, I would say these boys are closer to the southern pride than they would be to the northern pride. Interesting enough, we haven't really seen any female tracks in this vicinity, but maybe going further south we might find them. But also remember, we were just focusing on finding these males and showing you what the Kalahari black-maned look like. And it was with the help of those tracks that we found earlier. So maybe the other two boys could be close to the northern pride, but again, the two collisions of males sometimes also bump heads every now and then. So it makes for interesting dynamics and demographics with our lions here. So it's very interesting that you find them bouncing in between. And like I was saying earlier, for now they're going to be moving a lot more than they would in essence, and it's simply that they would be trying to suss out new opportunities and trying to find females without cubs, which is almost impossible. I think most of the females that are old enough to have cubs already have cubs at this stage, so it's a waiting game for them. For the younger females, one or two that there are, that could be receptive in the next couple of months. So it's a bit of a wait for them. And as for the females with the cubs now, it's still going to take a bit of a while before they get receptive again, because they have to raise those cubs. Look at how shut those eyes are, completely shut. Amy, are black-maned lions usually the largest lions in South Africa? To my knowledge, yes, and I will suffice or try explain why I would think that. Again, going back to terrain and what these animals would have to deal with. So what happens is they would be dealing with areas where the sand is very loose, that asks for them to have bigger feet and almost a bigger body, and it's almost like exercising. Imagine having to play maybe soccer or volleyball by the beach. That sand is heavy, so you start building up muscles like your calves and so on. So with them it would be things like the shoulders, but with that happening, the body then is also enticed to start producing a lot of testosterone, which in essence makes them slightly bigger than your average lion. And it's also because of that they would look more big and robust than your average lion. But also very interesting, a study was conducted a couple of years ago. I'm not going to go into detail who did it and how, where they took different forms of lions, from your darkest mane lion to your most blonde or white lion, if I can call it. And it so happens that the study figured out that the most dominant of those lions would be the darker maned lions. So it makes sense that testosterone is involved in all of that, because you can imagine that testosterone would make them more aggro, if I can say the word aggro. So it helps in that. So I hope that really answered your question. For the time being, while these guys are still sleeping, I think we're going to be moving on, and hopefully we find something else. But while we do that, we're going to be sending you over to another very beautiful location.
Welcome back to and Beyond Gala, everyone. So we just drove a little bit, maybe about 200 meters or so away from that water hole. There is another bit smaller than the one called Small Dam. So I'm sure you can see those two crocodiles that are out of the water, sunning themselves for the morning. So there's evidence with these crocs that these animals do move, because we know these crocodiles to be staying in that one water hole that we saw a bit earlier. But now they have moved. They are in this next water hole here. And as you can see, both of them have got their mouths open like that. So with these crocodiles, like I mentioned, it is hot now. That will be one of the way they would let heat out of their body, just opening their mouth like that, just to let the heat escape, just so they can stay a bit cooler. See, they're not really doing much, but it's quite exciting to see these crocs out of the water, because more often than not, you will drive in these water holes and then you will just see maybe the back of one, but will be in the water like that. So it's not every day you get to see them out like this, which is quite special to be seeing this morning. So as we got here, there are no animals now, but as we got here, there were some zebras as well as wildebeest and impalas that looked like they were having a drink, but they were not drinking anywhere close to those crocs. Not sure though whether the crocodiles might have seen those animals or not. Very impressive looking crocodiles indeed. These are quite cool creatures to see. Nice and out like that. And so, yeah, these animals are fully capable of killing other animals when they come to drink water here. But ever since I have been here, I've never seen any crocodile taking down any mammal down. So I've seen them catching some catfish. So that's what mostly they will be feeding on in these water holes. And of course, sometimes they are, or always actually, they are endangered for that skin, that beautiful skin that we see there. Then people will associate it or make some fashion trends, maybe belts or even handbags for those ladies who prefer fancy things. So these crocs are endangered like that. Beautiful looking. So yeah, we are going to make our way out of this area, just leave those crocodiles to warming themselves for the morning, and we are going to be sending you over to Juma.
Welcome back to Juma, everybody, and welcome to Treehouse Dam, where after a very busy and crazy start to the morning, we just decided a nice quiet moment here at the dam would be exactly what we need.
Tracy, I think it's the peace we all needed after this morning. Started off this morning with no real intention, just to come out and explore Djuma, find my feet once again. And as you know, every day new opportunities present themselves out in the wild, and I think it's a nice thing to sort of put forward in life, that every day new opportunities have the potential to present themselves. We often get so overwhelmed or so caught up in life that we forget that every day is a new day. Every day brings unlimited opportunities if we are only aware to them. Spending 5 days in the wilderness now has really connected me to that. Bernie Luna, it is indeed easy, like Sunday morning. Gert likes that song. Don't you, Gert? Yeah. We were singing it a few times in Pridelands on the Sundays. So I'm here for 2 weeks. It'll be my time in Djuma for who knows how long next. Looking forward to maximizing it. Okay, everyone, well, it sounds like Obi's on the move. Let's go see what he's looking for.
So what we have here, I'm just going to show you something here. We used to like playing with these things growing up. It's a milkweed, and they make these fluffy little things, and it's actually a seed that is carried in within this. So I'll bring it a little bit closer, that you can actually see it. So right in the center there is the seed, but this fluffy stuff makes it able to be airborne, actually. So if I would let it go, it would fly. Let's see if there we go, and see how it just almost disappears like that, and that's how they would disperse. So you would see that these little brown capsules over there would start drying out, and by drying out, they dry out so much that it forces them to actually crack or open up, and slowly with the wind coming by, it starts separating those seeds from inside, and with those tufts or with those fluffs, then they start being blown around by the wind, and that's how they would disperse. Incredible how nature just operates, but also very interesting. The locals here tell me that there's a kind of a beer that can be actually made with a bulb coming from this creeper. So underneath is a bulb, and what they would do, because it's a poisonous bulb, they would actually cut it open, let it aerate and almost dry out, and they would soak it in water, and the first water that they've taken out from, they wouldn't use it. It's almost like to extract the poison, or to minimize it. And what they would do is they would then add sugar and other stuff to the remaining pot, and what they would do is then try ferment it, sugar and yeast, and try ferment it, and it apparently makes some beer. I don't want to try it. I really don't want to try it. Apparently it's refreshing. So I would take their word for it, especially that I'm allergic to a lot of things. I'm not going to try that. But it's interesting to know that people would go through certain things like that and experiment and find out amazing things like that they can ferment such roots. Nature is always incredible in what it offers, and for me what gets to me is how somebody figures a way to make something out of a plant, for example, or out of a kind of meat. So I'll give you an example. Ever thought how many people had to experiment with getting what we eat today? I mean, for something like potatoes, I mean, you dig it out, and do you boil it? Do you braai it? Do you to first eat it? And also, because it's a root, how many people were skeptical in doing it? And things like mushrooms, think about it. How many mushrooms are poisonous? And how many people had to die before we know that, okay, these are poisonous, these you can eat, these you can't eat. I mean, for me, that's what makes nature fascinating. It's like, how did we find out that no, this is poisonous, this you cannot eat? Because back then there was no technology like today. so for me it's like an incredible finding. It's like, no, you the leader, you try this. It's just I'm sorry, and BK is just in chuckles there behind the camera. But I mean, these are things that I sometimes think about when I'm alone and think, how on earth did somebody just get it right and say, no, these mushrooms, no, we can't. You're going to die if you eat them, or you're going to, have food poisoning or whatever. Or if they go off, for example, some plants, they eatable when they still fresh, and vice versa. Some you can only eat them after they, so those how did we figure it out? It's just mind-boggling. The art of cooking, where did we develop that? I mean, we had, somehow it had to evolve, or I don't know. Those are incredible things that nature has given us. No other animal cooks. We do. How did that evolve? But it's always an interesting thing. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts to ponder around them and play around them. And maybe you could send comments and let me know what you think of things like this. And being creative. I mean, imagine if you were stuck out in the bush and we didn't have the knowledge that we have today about plants. How would you try certain foods? To know that, okay, I can try this food and maybe I would survive. I mean, already we do know that anything that gives milk or a latex out of it, you shouldn't try it. But there's, interesting enough, other plants that would give a latex that we do eat. Speaking of things like your prickly pears, that it's almost from the cactus family that has sap or white milky secretions. So it's just amazing. BK is now turning over and showing us the vastness of the Kalahari. Look at that. And that's where we went this morning for trekking the lions, those mountains in the background there. This is the eastern side of the reserve. So I've said much about the eating and everything. Keep thinking about it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm going to be sending you over to Mike. Enjoy what he has.
we've managed to get back to the car, and we've headed on to Impala Plains. And we've managed to find 2 young giraffes, very small giraffes. We saw their mother disappearing down far into the tree line right beyond them. She's obviously gone to go and do some feeding, and she's left her young giraffes in the middle of this open clearing with a couple of impalas as chaperones. It's obviously the safest place for her youngsters. They can spot danger from far away. And even though they are quite young, they'll be very, very fast and, to be honest, quite difficult for a smaller predator to take on. Not difficult for a big male lion or even a very skillful lioness. It's good to see. So that giraffe there is only probably a little bit taller than me, maybe 2.5 meters, something like that. If I reached my hands up, I'm sure I could give it a good stroke, scratch behind its ear. Feeding on the low branches of what looks like a flaky bark thorn. It's really going to be a glorious day, though. The wind is picking up, but it's nice and cool, the breeze, because it's going to be hot today, I suspect. And so these giraffes will probably not stay in the middle of this open clearing for much longer. I suspect they'll probably start making their way down towards the tree line, at least to get some shade, like this one is doing right now, or maybe even lie down underneath some of these flaky bark thorns to get to the shade. You can see the giraffe that's in the shade. There's another one off to the left which is busy moving in the open, and it's got a little impala next to it. So remember, there's always safety in numbers with animals. So as long as they stick together, it's a great chance to spot the danger coming from a mile away in this beautiful big open clearing. Remember that Pride Lands used to be a farm, so this area was cleared many, many years ago as a farmland. I can't remember what they were putting here. It was like potatoes, pumpkins or something. But as you can see, it's starting to rehabilitate itself and turn into a beautiful natural area again, with a nice variety of different plants and animal species now taking up residence. Much similar to Phinda, as I'm sure those of you who've been watching know about Phinda and its history. It's getting hot though now, so what we're going to do is leave these giraffes enjoying a snack.
If you love to watch Wild Earth, then we are inviting you to join our Explorers program. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic Wild Earth expeditions. Join our guides for a chat around the fire, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn allows us to escape into nature every single day.
The reason why we see that wildebeest by himself is because he's a male, or a bull, as we typically would call him. And what he does is that he marks and defends an area. Essentially, he is looking for the ultimate piece of land or prime property. Needs to have good grazing, needs to have a water source close by. And not too far away from here, there's a sickle bush thicket that would provide just enough shelter from the wind and the rain.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at and beyond Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through and beyond Ngala on Wild Earth. Send me live questions through the Wild Earth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hello everyone. everyone, my name is Trishala and I am a naturalist and safari guide here in Djuma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands in South Africa. I think that the information that we provide, and most importantly the questions that you ask, give both you and I a really good idea of what's going on. My friend Fernando here, he's a flat-necked chameleon and I love them. They're just these gems that you manage to find in the bush.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
I've come up against what possibly is the best roadblock one can have, and it's the dogs, or some of them. There's just about 4 or 5 of them that are hanging around here on the road, and I was on my way to look for Tavangumi, who was basically around Sandy Patch area, but on Buffelshoek cut line. On the move, and actually I tried to get to him earlier, but we're having a lot of difficulty in that particular area, in Sydney's Dam in Buffelshoek. But then he moved and I was trying to make my way in that direction. And he's continuing to move in a southwesterly direction, so maybe this afternoon we might be able to see him, because I haven't seen him yet. And then we came across this lovely roadblock. You spent so much of the morning with these wild dogs and all the action they provided you with. But now it's time for relaxing and napping, finding those good spots of shade, which they definitely have. Now also, those patches of shade on the road are nice and cool. And they're really taking advantage of that. This is great for us this afternoon because they're on Vuyatela access and they're going to stay here for much of the day. And that's because it's getting quite warm, and this afternoon is going to be pretty warm too. It's going to get up to the early 30s degrees Celsius. So it is going to warm up substantially, and these dogs won't move very much at all. They'll just lie here, waiting for us to come out this afternoon. No, they don't wait for us. We wait for them. So that'll be awesome. A leopard for this afternoon and some wild dogs. And that's just of the animals that we know are around. Imagine all those animals that we haven't seen and we don't know are around. That's half the adventure. That's most of the adventure of going on this live safari with you. What we could find just around the corner. There's a nice breeze. It's turning out to be a very, very beautiful day. As are all the days out here, actually. Hello, puppy. Thank you so much for entertaining us today. Lovely. Well, like I said, a lot of hope for this afternoon. Steve and my first day back, and we're very excited about it. And we're very happy to have shared it with you all. So thank you, guys. It's that time. We'll see you this afternoon, and goodbye for now. And thank you, of course, for all your questions and your comments.